Title: When the Gods Played with Mortals, the Calabash of Unity. Long ago, two great communities, Umwadika and Umumaizu, were bound by kinship and trade. But when whispers of betrayal took root, their bond shattered. War consumed the land. Dust and blood mixed with the cries of warriors, as the two great communities, once united, now fought with a bitter hatred. In the midst of the chaos stood Kaba, a strong and fearless warrior. His eyes burned with fury as he cut through his enemies, driven by a rage he barely understood. Amid the bodies of fallen warriors, elders from both sides looked on in despair. The gods had turned their faces away, and the land was barren from war. Famine swept the villages, and the rivers ran dry. It was clear, this fight would not end until the gods were appeased and the curse lifted. Desperate for peace, the leaders of both communities sought the counsel of the chief priest. The chief priest, guided by the gods, decreed that a marriage would be the only way to heal the wounds of war and reconcile the two communities. Kaba, the handsome young hero of his people, Umwadika, was chosen to marry Nala, the most beautiful maiden from the rival community, Umumazu, as a symbol of peace. But the gods demanded a ritual. Kaba would offer a calabash of eggs, and if Nala accepted it, peace would reign once again. The ceremony of peace was expected to last for 7 days, and the elders were asked to go home and prepare for it. The sun rose on the first day of the ceremony, casting a golden light on the gathered communities. Kaba, dressed in the finest warrior attire, stood tall and proud. Nala, with her delicate features and graceful movements, approached and greeted the elders. Her smile was strained, as if hiding a deep sorrow. In the crowd stood another figure, one who was not meant to be there. Ika, the captured warrior from Nala's village, a prince hidden away and sacrificed to the gods of Kaba's land. Ika had once been Nala's childhood friend, a brotherly figure who had saved her life during a raid many years before. The ceremony began, but whispers of Ika's fate spread like wildfire among the villagers. He was accused of defying the gods and sentenced to death. Nala, desperate and heartbroken, pleaded with Kaba to intervene. Her eyes filled with tears as she begged. Kaba, proud and suspicious of Nala's desperation, turned away from her pleas to save Ika. But guilt soon consumed him. By the time he sought to intervene, it was too late. A misguided acolyte, eager to appease the gods, had already beheaded the prince. The news sent shockwaves through both communities. Ika's death shattered Nala's spirit. Her grief turned to fury. She could not sleep that night, having witnessed the lifeless body of her friend, her grief turning into a silent, deep-seated rage. This was her childhood friend, a brother she never had, who had always protected and cared for her. A cold feeling of helplessness and fear of the future assailed her. She could no longer think of the handsome, soon-to-be husband with love. Her eyes only held sadness, pain, and betrayal. Why? Why? Did he not save him? She sobbed. 2 days after Ika's death, the elders gathered once more to continue with the ceremony. Not even the death of a forsaken prince will stop the restoration of peace for the communities. The villagers feasted and danced, but the joy felt hollow. Kaba approached Nala with the calabash of eggs as directed by the chief priest, his heart heavy with regret. Nala emerged from the hut, her beauty even more radiant in the morning light. She sang a haunting song as she danced, her voice filled with sorrow. It was a song of love and betrayal, of trust broken and friendships lost. Tears streamed down her face as she sang of her friend, who had been like a brother, now dead because of the whims of the gods and the stubbornness of men. She stopped in front of Kaba, her eyes meeting his. For a moment, it seemed as if the world stood still. Then, instead of accepting the calabash, she knelt before him. From beneath her wrapper, she pulled out a dagger and drove it into her own heart. The crowd gasped. Kaba dropped the calabash, which shattered with the eggs. "Why did you not save him?" Her dying words pierced Kaba's soul, her eyes filled with accusation before they closed forever. Her lifeless body caught in his arms. Kaba's cry of anguish filled the air, and chaos erupted. The peace talks crumbled, and the communities returned to war. Kaba, his heart broken, vanished into the wilderness, while the gods looked on in sorrow. But this mortal tragedy had divine origins. Long ago, when the gods walked the land among mortals, they blessed the Igala tribe with abundance, fertile lands, mighty rivers, and a harmony that bound two great communities, Umudika and Umumaizu. At the center of this alliance stood Oluwo, the god of wisdom and peace, who was revered by both the communities of Umudika and Umumaizu. He was a patient god, teaching the ways of negotiation, fairness, and justice. Oluwo took great pride in the unity between these two great communities. He often descended to the mortal realm disguised as an old wanderer, walking among the people to ensure that his teachings endured. During one such visit, he gifted the two communities the Sacred Calabash of eggs, a divine artifact that symbolized the fragile yet vital balance of unity. Each egg inside the calabash represented a principle of harmony, trust, sacrifice, patience, and love. Oluwo warned the leaders of both tribes.
As long as these eggs remain unbroken, peace will flourish between you. But if pride shatters even one, your alliance will crumble and darkness will descend upon you.
For years, the calabash served as a physical reminder of their bond. Whenever disputes arose, the leaders would bring it to the negotiating table as a symbol of their shared commitment to peace. But Oluwo's pride in his creation would eventually become his downfall. Oluwo's younger sister, Kizi, the goddess of discord, had long harbored jealousy toward her brother. Unlike him, she thrived in chaos and division, finding joy in mortal conflicts that often resulted in her being worshipped through war rituals and sacrifices. When Oluwo succeeded in uniting Umwadika and Umumaizu, Kizi's temples began to empty. Her name was no longer whispered in prayer. In her frustration, she sought an audience with her brother in the celestial court. "You meddle too much in their lives, Oluwo," she sneered. "Mortals thrive on conflict. It gives them purpose. Without it, they forget us." Oluwo dismissed her concerns.
Peace is not weakness, Kizi. It is wisdom. They will remember us for the blessings we bestow, not the suffering we cause.
But Kizi would not be ignored. She descended to the mortal realm, sowing seeds of doubt and pride among the people of Umudika and Umumaizu. She whispered into the ears of their leaders, planting fears that the other tribes sought to betray them. The alliance between Umudika and Umumaizu was strongest during the annual Festival of the River, a celebration of their shared prosperity. Oluwo would often attend these festivals in disguise, enjoying the harmony his teachings had fostered. During one such festival, Kizi decided to act. She approached Oluwo in private, feigning concern. "Brother, you have bound these people too tightly," she said. "Their unity is fragile, like the eggs in your calabash. One crack, and all will fall apart. Let me show you how fickle their peace truly is." Oluwo, prideful in his creation, scoffed at her warning.
You underestimate their strength, Kizi. Their bond is unbreakable.
To prove her point, Kizi disguised herself as a merchant and planted rumors among the festival goers. She told the leaders of Umumaizu that Umudika had secretly hoarded gold from their shared trade routes. To the warriors of Umudika, she whispered that Umumaizu had plotted to attack their border. By the end of the festival, tensions simmered beneath the surface. Oluwo, oblivious to his sister's schemes, was shocked when the leaders of both tribes approached him with accusations against one another. In an attempt to resolve the growing discord, Oluwo revealed himself to the leaders. He summoned the Sacred Calabash and demanded they recommit to their bond.
Let the calabash decide your fate, Oluwo said. Each egg represents your unity. Break one, and you break your peace.
But Kizi had anticipated his move. Using her divine influence, she clouded the leaders' hearts with mistrust. The leader of Umumaizu, spurred by fear and anger, picked up the calabash and smashed it against the ground. "Better to break this bond than to live under the shadow of betrayal." The calabash shattered, its eggs spilling onto the earth. The moment the last shell broke, a great thunder rumbled across the land. Oluo's face twisted in horror as he realized his sister's hand in the events. Kizi appeared, triumphant. "Your mortals were never as strong as you believed, dear brother. Their peace was nothing more than a leash tied too tight. They have broken free, as I knew they would." Furious, Oluo cursed both tribes.
If you cannot uphold peace, you will suffer for your pride. Your souls will wander in cycles of hatred, doomed to repeat your mistakes until love and sacrifice mend what pride has broken.
Turning to Kizi, he added,
You may rejoice now, but your triumph will not last. One day their love will prove stronger than your hatred.
Kizi, unbothered, returned to the heavens. Meanwhile, the land of Umuadaka and Umumaizu fell into chaos. The shattered calabash became a symbol of their broken alliance, and the gods withdrew from the mortal world, leaving the tribes to their fate. In the centuries that followed, Oluo watched in sorrow as the two tribes cycled through war and brief, fragile peace. Despite his curse, he never gave up hope that his mortals would find redemption. He sent dreams and visions to their reincarnated souls, guiding them toward the day when the curse might be broken. Kizi, on the other hand, continued to fan the flames of conflict, enjoying every moment of strife. But deep down, she feared Oluo's prophecy that one day love would triumph over hatred, and her influence would fade into obscurity. This divine struggle between peace and discord, love and pride, formed the unseen backdrop to the mortal tale of Kaba, Nala, and Ika, a story not only of warriors, but also of gods, whose actions shaped the fate of the two communities. As the centuries passed after the disappearance of Kaba, the death of Nala and Ika, the tribes of Umudika and Umumaizu fell deeper into their cycle of animosity, their lands scarred by endless wars and fleeting truces. The gods waited. The people waited for a destined event to break this divine curse. Dumi was a warrior of Umuadaka, born under an ominous red moon. From the moment he held a spear, his destiny was clear: to defend his people and conquer their enemies. The elders saw his fiery eyes and whispered, "He carries the spirit of the cursed." Dumi was relentless in battle, earning the title the Lion of Umuadaka. But beneath his strength lay a deep void. Haunted by dreams of a woman's cry and the shattering of the sacred calabash, he often woke with clenched fists, unsure of the source of his rage. Ayana, the daughter of Umumaizu's chief, was equally renowned for her wisdom and beauty. Her vision of a unified future for the tribes often placed her at odds with her own council. She was a healer. Her soft voice and skilled hands brought comfort to the wounded and hope to the weary. Ayana, too, was haunted by dreams, a vision of herself, sorrowful and regretful, with a bloody wound to her heart, begging someone to choose peace. "I feel as if I've lived this life before," she often muttered to herself. Across the river in Umumaizu, a young warrior named Kian rose to prominence. Unlike Dumi's fiery demeanor, Kian was calculated, a tactician who saw the battlefield as a game of strategy. But Kian's pride was his downfall. Manipulated by a seer named Naya, who claimed to speak for the gods, Kian grew convinced that his destiny was to unite the tribes, not through peace, but through conquest. Kian's ambitions were not entirely his own. He too was haunted by dreams, a woman's tears, a man's betrayal, and a blade dripping with blood. Naya twisted these visions, feeding his resentment. "That man in your dreams is Dumi," she said. "He is the reason for your pain. You must destroy him to free yourself." The clash between Umuadika and Umumaizu reached a fever pitch. Villages burned, the rivers ran red, and the gods watched from the heavens as their curse unfolded once more. The paths of these three mortals intertwined during a fateful skirmish between Umuadika and Umumaizu. Dumi led his warriors into Umumaizu's territory, seeking to reclaim stolen land, and came face to face with Kian. Their swords clashed with such force that the ground trembled. "The land is not yours!" Dumi shouted. I do not care. You are my curse, Kian roared back. Your betrayal is written in my blood. Neither man understood the depths of his words, but the hatred between them was palpable. But as the battle reached its height, a fire broke out, threatening to consume the nearby villages. Ayana stood at the edge of the battlefield, clutching the calabash shards, refusing to let innocent lives be caught in the crossfire, stepped onto the battlefield, and pleaded for a ceasefire. Her bravery caught Dumi's attention, and for a moment, he hesitated. That moment of hesitation became the turning point. Stop this madness! Ayana stepped forward, her voice carrying over the chaos. Do you not see that you are the same, brothers divided by pride, bound by a curse that is not your own? Her words struck something deep within both men. For a moment, they hesitated. But Naya appeared, her voice dripping with venom. Do not listen to her lies. Your destiny is to destroy your enemy. In that instant, Dumi looked into Kian's eyes and saw a reflection of his own pain. Dropping his sword, he stepped back. I will not fight you. Kian hesitated, the weight of his dreams crashing over him. Ayana stepped forward, placing the calabash shards in his hands. Choose, Kian. Will you break this curse or continue the cycle? With trembling hands, Kian shattered his blade against the ground. No more. Unbeknownst to the warriors, Ayana had begun piecing together the fragments of her dreams. Guided by visions of the sacred calabash, she had sought out Arya, the reincarnation of a forgotten priestess who once served Oluwo. Arya lived in isolation, tending a hidden shrine to the gods. When Ayana arrived, Arya's eyes widened. You are the one from my dreams, she whispered. Arya explained the curse that bound their people, the gods' wrath, and her belief that the cycle could be broken. Together, they uncovered the last remnants of the sacred calabash, shards buried beneath centuries of soil. Arya revealed the final ritual, a sacrifice of ego, vengeance, and pride. Only when the warriors choose love over hatred will the curse be lifted. This revelation shook the communities to their core. They began to see their war not as a matter of honor or pride, but as a cruel game orchestrated by forces beyond their control. Dumi lowered his sword and pledged to find another way, while Ayana and Kian vowed to bring peace to their people. But peace was not so easily won. As Duma and Ayana worked to mend relations between their tribes, their growing bond, as if guided by the invisible thread of fate, ignited jealousy and distrust among their own people. They shared laughter, dreams, and an unspoken understanding of each other's souls. Their love felt ancient, powerful, as if it had survived time itself. Many viewed their alliance as betrayal, and whispers of treachery spread. Despite the mounting pressure, the trio pressed on. Guided by dreams sent by Oluwo, they searched for the shattered pieces of the sacred calabash. According to legend, if the calabash could be restored, the curse would be lifted, and peace would return to the land. Their journey took them across treacherous terrain, into ancient temples, and through trials designed to test their unity. The final trial required a sacrifice. As they stood before the remains of the calabash, a voice echoed from the heavens. It was Oluwo. He revealed that the calabash could only be restored through an act of pure, selfless love. Dumi, Ayana, and Kian looked at one another, knowing what must be done. Ayana stepped forward, offering her life to restore peace. If my sacrifice will heal this land, then let it be so, she declared. But before she could act, Dumi stopped her. Number this land needs your wisdom, Ayana. My strength has brought nothing but destruction. Let me be the one. Kian argued same, offering himself to be the sacrifice. Their argument was interrupted by the thunderous voice, Oluwo, who admonished.
Neither of you must sacrifice. The sacrifice is not of life, but of pride. To mend this land, you must let go of your desire for revenge and your fear of betrayal. Only trust and love can heal what has been broken.
Humbled, the trio knelt together, pledging their eternal commitment to peace. As they did, the shattered calabash began to glow, its pieces reassembling into a brilliant whole. The heavens opened, and a golden light bathed the land, healing the wounds of centuries and lifting the curse. The gods' voices echoed.
The cycle is broken, love has triumphed.
From that day, Umuwadika and Umumezu were united once more. The rivers cleared, the land healed, and the tribes, humbled by the warriors' sacrifice, laid down their arms. The tale of the cursed warriors became a legend, a reminder that even in the face of hatred, love and forgiveness have the power to heal. Kazi, watching from the heavens, let out a cry of fury. Her influence over Umuwadika and Umumezu faded, and her temples crumbled into dust. Oluwo, however, smiled, knowing his prophecy had come to pass. Dumi and Ayana became symbols of unity, their love story passed down through generations. The tribes of Umudika and Umumaizu merged into one prosperous community, guided by the principles of trust, sacrifice, patience, and love, principles that no longer needed a calabash to endure. And so, the tale of Dumi, Ayana, and Kian became a legend, a reminder that even in the face of divine discord, mortal love and sacrifice can restore balance to the world. The end. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey of love, war, and redemption. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more legendary tales. Until next time, let the lessons of the calabash guide your path. Love you all.